All right. Today we're going to be talking about the move west that America now expands into the west. And on your workbook, reproduce both 140, 141, 142, 143, 144 are all really good to look at. This is a good worksheet to write down all the things that we learned in today's lesson. And also about Manifest Destiny, California Gold Rush, and the two trails that we're going to focus on, as well as, oh, I almost forgot, 145 Erie Canal, also very important in today's lesson that I'll show you. All right, so wealth in the Wild West. People are moving into the East Coast. All these immigrants from Europe are, Europe is devastated right now by Napoleonic wars. There's no land for people to buy or own, no jobs. So they're all flooding into America where there are jobs and there is land, at least the hope for it. And as all these people are coming in, cities are getting very crowded, and people are deciding, you know what, it's probably better if we get out of here and move out into this other part of the territory. And so everybody starts moving out west. The first way that they're able to move out west is the Erie Canal. All these cities here are starting to grow on the Great Lakes. And as we know, we get out of the Great Lakes by taking the St. Lawrence River out into the Atlantic. However, America does not own the St. Lawrence River. That's in Canada, owned by the British. And we're not always on the best terms with them, especially back then. We just had a revolution, just had a War of 1812. And so our relations aren't quite the best. We don't want to rely on any other country, even if they are our friends. So we build the Erie Canal right here. You can see a gap. Let me zoom in a little bit here. You can see a gap in the Appalachian Mountains, goes right through, and it takes us to uh, Lake Erie, this canal. So we build a canal to get through so we can get from the Great Lakes to the Hudson River, down the Hudson River, into the Atlantic. You can see New York City is going to grow very big because of this. And then we have all this trade set up because of the Erie Canal. And people can start moving out west, which they do. So Erie Canal is the first thing that allows us to get out there. Rivers, steamboats, all these things we're going to talk about later in the chapter are helping people move out west. And so that's where it all gets started. Talking about the Erie Canal and now the Oregon Trail. If we look at this map here in our book, we could see the Oregon Trail right through here. See this gap through the Rocky Mountains. Rocky Mountains are huge, almost impassable. So that's why this area right here, we can see a little bit better. Here's the Oregon Trail going right through here, and that's why this Oregon Territory right over here that we were talking about the other day was very, very important. In order to get out to the Pacific, get out to California, Oregon, all this nice area over here past the mountains, you needed the Oregon Trail, so that was a very important piece of land that we picked up. And then finally, and we can see it also here, another map. And then we're going to talk about the Santa Fe. Santa Fe, you get to Santa Fe, and then there's a gap here, and we can see that right here is the Santa Fe Trail, and that leads us to Mexico City, which is a huge city, great for trading. So in order for people to trade goods and get things that they need and sell things that they want to sell, Santa Fe was able to get, we were able to get down to Mexico to trade these things. So very important trails, Santa Fe, Oregon, and even the Erie Canal. And one of the big things, especially with the Oregon Trail, the California Gold Rush. In 1848, we find gold right out here in the Sierra Nevadas, San Francisco area. So, in fact, you can remember this because of the San Francisco 49ers, golden helmets. Okay, they discovered gold in 1848. Word gets out. The next year, everybody starts rushing out to California to try to find gold. That's why we have the 49ers with their gold helmets. We got the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. It helps us to remember these things about history because it's all over. You know, history is hidden in plain sight every day. You just have to recognize it. So yes, in 1848, gold is discovered. Everybody comes out here and well, out to California. And not everybody, in fact, a lot of people do not find gold. They get out there and they're broke and they sell everything to get out there to find gold. And most people do not find gold. A lot of people do get rich, but the overwhelming majority do not find anything. However, they look at the land, and remember we talked about fertile valleys. Remember in chapter one, great farmland out here. So when people finally do get out to California, they realize this is a pretty nice place. I think I'm going to stay here. And so people start populating California and the West Coast, and it makes the Oregon Trail even more important. Okay, let's go over our definitions. Manifest, clear and obvious. Destiny, something that is bound to happen. So manifest destiny, put it together, and that's what we get. Manifest destiny. This is clear and obvious that it is bound to happen, that we're going to move west. We're going to settle this land and take it over and tame it and build telegraph wires and train tracks and farms and just a lot of opportunity out there. It's not great for everyone, though. We can see right here the American Indians will be pushed off their land. They're already there, and they're already enjoying this land. And now the Americans are going to come in because we got the land from France or Spain. Remember we talked about how we got all this land in treaties. Well, the Indian nations didn't sign those treaties, and so they're going to get pushed around. We're going to talk about that in the next lesson. But there is a group of people that really likes it, and that is runaway slaves. Runaway slaves use this opportunity to move out west, as we can see right here. If you're a slave in the South, you can't go east because you're going to end up in the ocean. You can't go south because we picked up Florida, and so the authorities are going to go after you there. And then if you go north, you probably have to travel through quite a bit of slave states and to get to non-slave states, and they're really not too stringent on returning slaves. So north is a pretty good idea. But if you go west, then people aren't going to come after you. I mean, you're going to be so far out there, and it's just going to be too much effort to come after you. So for runaway slaves, this is actually a good place to get their freedom by heading out west. So you'll see a lot of runaway slaves go out there and try to get their freedom. Of course, we talked about the gold rush in 1848. Remember the 49ers, Golden Gate Bridge. Cheap land. Not only was it cheap, in the Homestead Act, you could just plot out your land, send in an application, and it's pretty much yours. It's in some cases it was free land, so it was very very cheap land. In some cases free, so you were able to get out there and getting land and starting a farm. That's very independent. Everybody wanted to do that. And then finally, to build these houses and barns and everything else, you needed lumber. So lumber would become a huge, huge business. And so that created a lot of jobs wherever there were forests. So lumber became a big business. So those are the big four reasons. And of course, we talked about manifest destiny. All right, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.